Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Grand Rising or good evening, and thank you for joining us on this Wednesday edition of the On Air Daily News Hour. Well, on the On Air Daily News, we have been reporting this week on some momentous activities going on across the nation, across the world, and sometimes even across the galaxy. But we want to bring you those reports because we want you to stay abreast of what is happening in the world. And sometimes the things that happen need to be remembered so that we as a human family can evolve. We can become a better species of humanity because we've learned from our mistakes. So on today, we want to bring you that event which we spoke about last week, and we had our guest on, Mamadee YHWHnewBN, who is a longtime activist and one who has made a point to remember the life of Emmett Till, but more importantly, to honor his mother for her extreme sacrifice in being able to share the tragedy of his murder with the world by having an open casket so that people could see the ugliness of racism. So a street has been named in honor of Mamie Till Mobley and her son, Emmett Till, on 71st and Kedzie, and we were present at that naming ceremony to get words of insight from not only the participants, but even some figures in our own recent history who have survived some tragedies and were ready to share their emotions. The killing of a human being is a momentous experience, not just for the families, but for the entire society that witnesses the cruelty and the heartlessness that comes out of a human being as a result of a conditioned experience and belief in hatred. Hatred is never justified, but if you grow up believing that it is, sometimes you need a mirror to show you the ugliness of what it looks like so you can choose not to look like that again. And this is what the life and death of Emmett Till represented: a mirror to America, showing the ugliness of racism. A 14-year-old boy visiting his relatives in the South, snatched out of his home and brutally murdered. The world needs to know. They needed to know what that kind of hatred looks like. so they could be thoroughly disgusted at themselves and choose not to participate in that level of hatred again. So let's take a look at the ceremony held at 71st and Kedzie, naming the street after Emmett Till and his courageous mother, Mamie Till Mobley, and all of those who participated, as Mamadee shares with us the significance of this moment for today's children.
I don't see any girls here, but the girl builds the woman. The woman becomes the mother, and a mother teaches love. Love is the arm that reaches out and holds people, places, and things together. Without love, without a mother's love, society falls apart. So we must help the girl to be a stronger woman, so that when she becomes a mother, the life she conceives will be worth living. You can give me a nice round of applause. Yes, absolutely. And when I did this for the girls, my nephews who were 11 years old at the time, he said, well, what about the boys? So this is what about the boy. The boy builds the man. Manhood is mastery over the mind. At creation, the man donated a rib to the woman, so without her, his backbone is not strong. Together, they are one, standing tall in the creation of all. Now, the finest function of the boy is to become a man and a father and provide for the family. Therefore, he must not get involved in play, P-L-A-Y, play, because it's work that gets things done. We must help the boy develop his physical, mental, and spiritual potential, so that when he becomes a father, his family will have a finer future.
All right.
All right. All right. Thank you, special honor. Okay. Now, go down. All right, first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Evangel Mamadee YHWHNewBN. Mamie Till Mobley is the mother of the boy. I am the mother of Emmett Till Mobley, because I conceived the idea, personally wrote the story, and it took lobbying and finance 3.5 years to resurrect a legacy that has been buried for 30 years. And when Rosa Parks came out to the street dedication, she said it was what let me get her exact words. She said Emmett gave her the courage to do what she did. And that's all it takes. It takes courage. And Mamie Till Mobley had the courage to say, I'm going to get justice for my son one way or the other. And she devoted her life to getting justice. So as founding president of Global Committee commemorating King Days and the Emmett Till Rhodes Scholars Foundation, we have been commemorating August 28th since 1982, because it is one of the 3 days of respect that have officially affirmed the 3 key principles of the American Civil Rights Renaissance of the 1960s from the survivors standpoint. So, today, July 25th, 2026, on Emmett Till Day in Illinois. Amen! And Mayor Brandon Johnson made it Emmett and Mamie Till Mobley Day in Chicago. So let's not forget his proclamation. And I am humbled and honored to have you come out today in the naming of Mamie and Elton Rose in Marquette Park. Now that's significant. This is to remember one of the most courageous women that the earth has ever seen.
Yes.
Okay. On July 25th, 1941, Emmett was born in Cook County Hospital, and he was welcomed. You know, I'm not very good at reading stuff off of paper. He was born at Cook County Hospital to Louis and Mamie Till. She gave birth so that he could be born on the earth. It was her birthday, and it's the day that he got born on the earth, but he was alive for 9 months, which the Creator called being the fruit of the womb, before she gave birth, so that he could be born on earth. That's one of the things that we can focus awareness on, the importance of your birth teacher. And we don't say it enough. Earth Day, birthday. Whereas she gave physical birth to him, but it is written in the Word. Children are heritage of God. And the fruit of the womb, that unborn soul, is his reward. And so it is, we don't give him credit for the fruit of the womb. We don't say Earth Day birthday. He was alive before he gave the birth and he got born on the earth. So that's one of the things that we can begin to focus awareness on. The truth. It is not your birth, it is your mother's birthday. So happy Earth Day birthday, Mamie Till Mobley and Emmett Till. Okay. Parker wanted me to give, that we have come a long way, but we still have a long way to go, and he is very grateful for this honor given to Mamie and her son. I always sound right on and see what happens when I take it and take this long away. So what we have to do, if you want to put it in the pocket, so it won't go off. Okay. So when you think of a mother, who gives her one of our it all began as fruit of the womb. And right here we have, you want to come on up? You want to roll up? It all began with the fruit of the womb. Now this woman can tell you about that, because the week after Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were assassinated, she gave birth. determine.
No, oh, no, 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 no. Is she? Wait, hold on. I can just lower that down.
Can you? But the others will not be
I
okay.
can lower it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, this way.
Yeah. Come right here. Or if you want to just be right here.
For the other.
And we will take a break and come right back. And here's some words from another historic figure, one that overcame a tragedy of that period, Akua and Jerry, who is known as the surviving wife of Fred Hampton, Black Panther, who was ambushed in his home, and his wife lay beside him, pregnant with their son. So she has some words when it comes to mothers surviving the tragedy and continuing on to leave a legacy for those who must now rebuild despite the trauma of that era. We'll be right back after this break, and we invite you to stick and stay. Don't stray away as we come back and bring you the naming of 71st and Kedzie after Mamie Till Mobley and her son Emmett Till. We will be right back after this quick break. So stay with us.
Welcome to Masterforce with Mushin Suit. Join us each week on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central, live on Facebook and YouTube on the Female Solution page. As we dive into powerful topics designed to assist you in mastering your life force, our conversations feature a diverse lineup of experts, all dedicated to your growth. Tune in weekly to discover new ways to elevate your spirit and raise your vibration. And remember, we are ascending.
Great day. It's your girl Asada here to introduce a new female solution show called Asada Says. That's right. Every month we're going to talk about everything I am, from cryptocurrency and financial security to good health and parenting strategies. Come on and talk with me every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And let's do that thing the way Asada says it should be done. See you then. Peace, right here on the Female Solution.
And we are back. You are watching the on-air daily news hour as we bring you coverage of the naming of Mamie, and it's E.L. Till, which stands for Emmett Luther Till. And this street at 71st and Kedzie will forever carry the memory of those tragic events and the courageous work of activist Mamadee YHWHnewBN, a longtime advocate of remembering that tragedy with a street. And the street is right around the corner. It was noted right around the corner from where Dr. King marched through Marquette Park, where he was hit with rocks by angry residents resisting the idea of Black families being allowed to move into that neighborhood. So the ugliness of the civil rights era continues to be remembered with signs that keep the next generation deciding that we must never let this happen again. Never again. We must never descend to this level of ignorance again. And for those who made the sacrifice of their lives, those whose tragic deaths awakened in some people who were oblivious to the meanness of American racism, they are to be remembered because so many people did not have any idea that the Black community was experiencing the level of meanness, cruelty, hatred, discrimination, exclusion that was happening. And because they were not aware, they often didn't support the work of those activists that sought to rally the people and conduct the marches and the protests. Because so many people were not aware, they were not involved. So it would take something like a tragic killing, and then the images of the open casket to shock some people into the reality that this is the America we have built, and this is the America that we must change. It cannot be allowed to continue. It cannot be allowed to be the place where people must live in fear for their lives or accept repeated degradation. So those who have been willing to step forward have made the change and made the difference that we now experience as an acknowledgement of our right to dignity. So there are a number of individuals who joined this celebration. Former Alderman Arenda Troutman, now, of course, a continuing coordinator of activities and activism on Chicago's South Side. There are the aldermen who were part of this naming event, and many aldermen who participate in a street renaming must sign off on the decision particularly if a street is going to come through their ward. And so that means working together and agreeing so that people can decide that they want this permanent marker. And this is no small thing, because once you rename a street, then that means it's got to be renamed on maps. People's GPS has to be synchronized. It has to be part of the global positioning system, GPS, so that when people are seeking directions, it is entered as a location. And all of these things that require some effort, even city documents, addresses, business addresses along that particular strip. So the naming of a street, it's more than just a ceremony. It requires some municipal actions, and it requires some, not just clerical work, but truly reorganizing the way a city directs traffic and names streets and directs where people should go. So this was a ceremony that marked a day when the street signs would go up on the poles, but the background work of what it took, a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions, a lot of planning, and various departments that go into, such as the Department of Planning, a lot of departments that go into the process of changing a street name. So there have been a number of streets named for people who have had an impact. And there is now discussions about naming Cottage Grove after Malcolm X. We've got the naming of what used to be South Park after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And there have been those who did not like that idea and didn't want their address to reflect his name. One particular preacher, I can't remember his name, but I don't really need to because I'm not going to promote him. But I understand that he changed his address on the church building to the other side of the street rather than call it something Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. So much hatred. But the important thing is that we recognize the people who have had an impact on this nation's history as we evolve to a better state of humanity. And sometimes we have to face the ugliness in order to eradicate it. So the naming of these streets is a part of facing that reality that we have created so that we can rectify the damage and future generations can learn from the experience, and future generations can change the trajectory of this nation so that we are no longer fearing the cruelty of our fellow beings simply because they have a different skin color. How ridiculous. But this naming ceremony gave us an opportunity to reflect and to have a resolve that we are never again going to allow this kind of cruelty to exist among our communities, our city, our nation ever again. We'll be right back with more on the 71st and Kedzie Street, named for Mamie Till Mobley and her son Emmett Till. We'll be right back after this break. So we want you to simply stay with us. When you see Black children misbehaving in public, being loud, disrespectful, and destructive, do you think to yourself, what they need is a good beating? That's what's wrong with these parents. They don't know how to discipline their children. Were you disciplined in that way? And did your parents also call you stupid, ignorant, and lazy? That's the way you break a slave. You terrorize them with constant fear of painful punishment. We were broken by parents who were broken, by parents who were broken. It's time to end the cycle of brokenness and bring healing to ourselves and our communities by using knowledge, respect, and love. We'll show you how. I'm Naima Latif. Get the book Slavery, the African American Psychic Trauma. On sale now. Go to www.naimalatif.com.
Brother, in which we're doing this documentary for, Douglas Robinson, Your Death Will Not Be in Vain.
He was a heck of a great dude.
And I love Doug. Doug loved me.
Just being around him, he had a good spirit. He was a healing person.
They are there.
Get SROs back.
When you give to the poor,
should not be forced out of their neighborhoods when it goes through a period of transformation.
Because there are too many people who are losing their homes to taxes because they can't pay a $1,000 tax bill.
Have you seen all the solar farms popping up everywhere? You know, the big fields with the solar panels. There's one in our community. They produce electricity using the clean energy of the sun to send to the power grid to reduce our energy costs. Because not everybody can get solar panels put on their roof the way I have, but everybody can enroll for free to share the energy produced by the solar farms. That's why they were built. You know you're supposed to be getting a 10 to 20% savings on your bill for that, right? Illinois has a goal to transition by 2050 to 100% clean energy. So everybody needs to be connected. People in other communities are already getting their savings. So I'll be by to see you because they want to make sure you get your savings as well. It just takes a few minutes. I'm Naima Latif. Call me if you have any questions. 312-849-3456. And we are back. You are watching the on-air daily news hour as we bring you the coverage of the naming of the street 71st and Kedzie, naming that strip after Mamie Till Mobley and her son, Emmett Till. This was painful for those who had to remember some of the things that they endured during that period. And we'll take a look at some of the statements made by those who also lived through tragedies during that very, very momentous era of struggle and protest. Hi, I'm Naima Latif with On Air Daily News, and we are here at the unveiling of the street sign at 71st. And we most definitely were there at the unveiling. Hi, I'm Naima Latif with On Air Daily News, and we are here at the unveiling of the street sign at 71st and Kedzie, honoring Mamie Till Mobley and her son, Emmett Till. And Mamadee YHWHNewBN, who is the president of the Global Committee commemorating King Days, has worked to make this unveiling happen today as a forever reminder of a mother and son and the sacrifice which ignited the civil rights movement. Okay. And one of the things that has been a difficulty for those who did not live through that era, especially if they are young people, is really grasping the significance of what we now take for granted. The power to go to school anywhere, the power to even choose to homeschool if we desire, or to create a school, the power to choose where we want to go to school, where we want to work, where we want to live, the power to feel like human beings without constantly facing discrimination and disrespect. The levels of disrespect that generations of African Americans endured made them work that much harder to educate their children, to ensure their children had opportunities, to open doors, and to ensure that their children made better lives for the next generation. Often, the second generation after a revolution has no understanding of what it took for them to get where they are because they didn't go through the struggle. So now there are those who are wondering, what do we need to do to help this upcoming generation who's easily distracted, easily pushed into self-destructive, negative behaviors, easily guided into creating song lyrics that promote mindless stupidity because the struggle and the triumph was not instilled in them. So what is the answer? Do we change our education system or even alter our education system to use certain books that help our children appreciate where they are? And this isn't so much to keep harping on racism and injustice, but do we not celebrate the 4th of July every year in America? Do we not celebrate Thanksgiving every year in America? We're celebrating these momentous events recalling them and defining them as times when the American population was able to reach a certain plateau. July 4th, Independence Day. And we know we've had speeches by none other than the great orator Frederick Douglass. What does the 4th of July mean to me? Because the irony of it, it was as America celebrated its independence, it was still very adamantly holding slaves, holding African people captive, forcing them to labor for no money, and killing them if they tried to escape. This was happening. So the contradiction has always existed in America. The contradiction between claiming to stand for freedom and yet building a global economy based on the enslavement of a large portion of its population so that it could become a world power by using forced free labor. This is a reality. So as we seize the power to define, we also have the responsibility to recount history as it was and to teach our children so that they may appreciate what they are now experiencing: the power to choose, the power to create, the power to ascend. And if we are diligent in our teaching, then they will be appreciative and they will have a vision of where to take this struggle to the next plateau, where we never again have to look back over our shoulder with fear, worrying that somebody's going to take away rights or take away privileges or take away dignity. No one has the power to do that unless we give it to them. By failing to seize control of that which we now control, our education, our economics, our culture. We control these things now because we have made these things part of the American fabric. And we have influenced generations with our culture, with our music, the revolutionary songs that inspired the generation that arose in the 1960s, 1970s, even 1980s. So we have a responsibility, those of us who are seasoned, to pass on the information in a way that the next generation can appreciate what happened and what must happen from this point, so that we're building the society we desire to live in. We can see what is not done and choose to do it because we have the power. So we're going to take one last break and come back with more on the street naming, 71st Street, and more words from those who recall the times that were so life-changing. And let's take a look at the children of the movement. Are we truly appreciating those who lived through this era? And we've got a few comments here. Let us acknowledge. And from the Higher Learning TV show, our sister Zelda says, too bad not much has changed. Ooh, more unhoused neighbors than ever. God help us. Help us. Yes. And that's something that we have a responsibility to change because we have the power to change it. We truly do. And we already know that those who've been profiting off the inequality of our economics are not going to change their system. We must change ours. And she says, looking forward to receiving the discount from the solar farm. Why are you the only person educating the community? Well, we're going to change that because it's too many of us who should know better, who should be spreading the word. And we want you, again, to make sure that you are part of this economic revolution as well as ecological revolution. We're changing the systems on the earth using clean energy to change how we respect this planet. And we're making sure that those of you who are conscious and aware are participating. So we'll be right back. We'll give you another reminder of what you can do to make a difference. We'll be right back. So just stay with us. We're going to greet our global family joining us from all across the world. And then let's remind you of how you can participate in the global movement for clean energy and help to support our unhoused neighbors. We'll be right back.
We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network. Call 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you.
Have you seen all the solar farms popping up everywhere? You know, the big fields with the solar panels. There's one in our community. They produce electricity using the clean energy of the sun to send to the power grid to reduce our energy costs. Because not everybody can get solar panels put on their roof the way I have, but everybody can enroll for free to share the energy produced by the solar farms. That's why they were built. You know you're supposed to be getting a 10 to 20% savings on your bill for that, right? Illinois has a goal to transition by 2050 to 100% clean energy. So everybody needs to be connected. People in other communities are already getting their savings. So I'll be by to see you because they want to make sure you get your savings as well. It just takes a few minutes. I'm Naima Latif. Call me if you have any questions. 312-849-3456. We are back, and you are watching the On-Air Daily News Hour. We're so pleased with those who are stepping forward. And again, we want you to be a part of the compassionate work being done by the Higher Learning Network in feeding our unhoused neighbors. You can support clean energy and help the Higher Learning Network feed the homeless. To start the process of connecting you to a local solar farm, just text a clear copy of the front and back page of your electric bill to this number on the screen, 312-849-3456. and the Higher Learning Network will receive a referral gift of $25 to help feed our unhoused neighbors. So this is a reminder that if we don't help us, no one will. Instead of us talking about who else should do something, what is it saying? We are the ones we've been waiting for. If we don't feed us, we will starve. So this is why we continuously remind you that there are opportunities to be a part of a global movement to change the way humanity functions and to be a part of a movement that helps us to remember that we are our brother's keeper. We are responsible for what happens to those in our midst who cannot help themselves. Rather than be judgmental, what we need to do is to be compassionate. Rather than blame people because they may have a drug habit or they may have an alcohol problem. They may just simply not be able to get themselves together mentally in order to keep a job. Whatever the case is, they're still human beings. And letting people suffer does not help them get over whatever caused them to end up in that situation. Sometimes people need a hand up. If you're drowning and you can't swim, letting you drown doesn't teach you how to swim. Somebody pulling you out of the water is what saves you. And this is what we must do. Pull each other out of the water as we're going down for the third time. Some of these people are going to be outdoors in the cold, frigid air. It's warm now, but winter is coming. You can give. You can be a part of a movement to help. So just do that. We appreciate all of you. Now, those who were present on this occasion, many of them spoke and expressed their gratitude, especially because all who had to participate in this process are elected officials, and they had to make a decision to sign off on something that for a long time there had been resistance about. So truly, when we get ready to make changes, we need to choose to make a difference. Regardless of what others do, we must choose to make a difference. And if we do that, then we'll see the change happen. A lot of times, we end up doing nothing simply because we don't know what to do. And we want to remind all of you that you have the power to participate in things which make a difference in our world. So if you choose to participate, you will see a change. And if you choose not to participate, then things will stay exactly as they are. And so all of those who have chosen to participate have been a part of the change. And what was it that Barack Obama was constantly saying? We are the change we've been waiting for. So for those who have not been able to get off the fence and choose to be a part of the movement, as it's called, they're continuously complaining about what isn't, instead of being a part of what could be. So let's take a look at some of the statements made by those who chose to be present, particularly those who have been historically a part of the struggle for justice. So we're going to take a look at Akua and Jerry, the wife of Fred Hampton Jr. Whoops, let's see. And here we are. Oops. All right, so let's take a look and hear some very moving words reminding us of the legacy.
I'm a survivor of the December 4th assassination of Chairman Fred and Defense Captain Mark Clark on the early morning of December 4th, 1969. I'm not going to give y'all the whole story. I do a reenactment on August 30th at the site of the assassination, 2337 West, what's the name of that street? Officially Chairman Fred Hampton Way. Y'all know where it is. Madison before Western. And we've been going over there for years before it was official. The people knew it was Chairman Fred Hampton Way. I want to say that I am honored and privileged, appreciate Mamadee for inviting me here to speak, participate, and appreciate all of you that are here on this celebration of the life and work of Mamie Till and her standing up and refusing to have a closed casket when they had brutally murdered her son. And that's a bad Mammy. Older people know what that means. Yes, and I can't cuss. Not here. Okay. I do a lot, but not here. So I just wanted to say thank all of you for coming out. Thank Mamadee. But I got one more thing I want to say. Y'all, everybody heard of the young girl that they killed.
little technical difficulties there. But you got, of course, the gist of her statement and her reminding us of the very painful experience that she had. And the triumph is that her son, Fred Hampton Jr., stood by her in that moment. And most definitely, his presence was a triumph because he's still here and he survived. And that's what it's about. Those who have lived with the tragedies, those who have experienced the cruelty, and those who have had to live with government complicity with wrongdoing can emerge and still have their dignity intact and can go on to teach future generations. So we're grateful for all of those who participated in that ceremony. We're grateful for those who recalled those times, and we're grateful for those who made this a triumph arising out of a tragedy. I'm Naima Latif. Thank you for joining us. Come on back tomorrow morning for Master Force with Mu Shem Sut. And until that time, we want you to continue to shine your light. We'll see you next time. We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.